Welcome to Get Ripped Collectibles.
What is up? What is up? What is up?
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
How you doing, Gator Dave? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Ready for week 12, man. We only got 2 weeks left of the regular season. Holy crap, it's gone so fast.
Yeah, it's sad
Great.
stuff, man. Sad stuff.
I know, man. I know. On that downturn, it's just I don't like it, man. I don't like it. I wish this thing went many months more, you know.
Oh
So
yeah, absolutely. We'll
all
drag it
right.
on as
So
long as we can.
yeah, we will. We will. We will. Hey, remind everybody to subscribe. Thanks to all that do. Make sure you hit that like button as we're going through here. Last week we had 18 people in the chat, Mike. That was crazy.
Yeah, that was awesome.
We'll try to get the call outs going. But that was good stuff last week. So like the show, interact in the chat, run us some smack, and let's go. So you're gonna look at the ugliness from last week there, Mike. Another 5-7 week. We
Yeah, I
can't
got it
get
up
over the
there. I
hump,
got it up
man.
there. If you look at the games that we were on, we on together. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe it's time to start fading us, the ones that we both like. I'm telling you, we brought it up last week. It's like that college game day curse. When you see all those teams go across and everybody's on the same page, get out. Get out or get
Yep.
on the other side.
I totally agree. I watch those guys and I'm like, there's no way this can't be right when they're all betting the same way. So
Yeah.
not good. So all right. Shall we get started here with the dubious 12 games?
That's
So
right. And for the note here, we're starting in the ever so popular Sun Belt here. I just wanted, for the record, this was Dave's pick. This was Dave's
this
selection
was
this
Dave.
week.
That's right. Usually it's Sunbelt Mike, but
That's right.
Dave's starting to, he's getting on board with the Sunbelt. So I had to jump in. You're gonna see some patterns here. I think we're like Sunbelt, SEC, and Pac-12. We're like just about almost everything.
Pretty heavy. Pretty heavy.
We'll see how it goes. So, all right, here we go. First game. We got Coastal Carolina at Army. So Coastal comes in, another strong year. They're at 7-3. They're 8-2 against the spread, which is pretty damn good. Army's 4-5, struggling to get to that. Try to get to a bowl game. 2-6-1 against the spread. Not looking too good at all. Coastal has won their last 5 games. Wins over App State and Texas State. Yeah, I know it's not Michigan or Alabama, but they're 2 of the better teams. Maybe not the top teams down there in our favorite league, but they are still good teams. Army's lost 3 of the last 5, but they have won 2 games as of late. They beat Holy Cross, but they needed a block punt, Mike, to beat Holy Cross, and they beat Air Force by 20. But let me say, during that game, Air Force had 6 turnovers. 6 turnovers. All right.
Yep.
So Coastal comes in, offense ranked 48, defense 38, 73rd on strength of schedule. Army offense 112, defense 41, strength of schedule 86. Grayson McCall, probably not back. He got banged up pretty bad, a bad concussion a couple of weeks ago, and not looking like he returns. If he does, then obviously throw all the money at it, but right now it's not looking like he'll be back. Ironically, all the money's on Army here, Mike, but which kind of surprised me a little bit. So for Coastal, they've got this freshman quarterback, Ethan Vasco, came in for McCall. He led them to the win over Texas State last week.
Third string.
17.
Third string.
Yeah, third. Exactly. 17 of 27, 145. Coastal here still has a shot at the Sun Belt Championship. Granted, it's going to be a little tough. This one is not a conference game, but obviously you want that momentum going into the next game, which they've got to go in and play the best team in the Sun Belt. But it's a game they need to win. So this freshman, he reminds me quite a bit of McCall in the early years. So he's played 2 games, 58%, 326, 3 touchdowns and an interception. But most importantly, dude can run the ball, Mike. In the 2 games, he's had 37 carries, 273 yards, 7.5 yards per carry. That's pretty damn good. So quite impressive freshman that they're rolling out there. So a lot of confidence there. They had 8 players carry the ball last week for Texas State, and they're going to run it, and they're going to run it, and they're going to run it. This game's going to look like one of those military games because of McCall not being in there, and you got a freshman quarterback, and they're going to run the ball. I see no way that Army has a chance at all. Give me the chance to cover the 4 points, and I'm calling this one right out of the chute, baby. Gator Dave lock.
Ooh,
What say you, Mike?
I say I'm on the opposite side here, Gator Dave, and I love that.
Mike,
I love being on the opposite of a Gator Dave lock. It's
I love it.
the locksmith has been available. Let's just say that. So last week you were speaking on this guy Vasco for Coastal. All of his yards though came in the week prior. It was not last week against Texas Tech. Surprisingly, he only had 7 carries for 21 yards in that one. So they were able to bottom him up pretty good. Texas State, we'll talk about them in a second. I think they more so lost that game than Coastal won it. But this is a classic sandwich game here for Coastal Carolina. They played Texas State last week. Texas State, one of the best in the Sun Belt this year. They're now tied for second in their division with Coastal. Last week of the season, they got Senior Day. They're going to be playing undefeated James Madison in James Madison's Super Bowl because obviously they are still bowl ineligible this year from making that transition from FCS to FBS. You combine that with Army's option that is always a pain in the ass to deal with. You got to be disciplined. You got to be focused to deal with that option. You really got to game plan it in order for it to be successful. So your mind has to be focused on it. I think that game next week against James Madison may play a factor here a little bit in their preparation. So give me Army at home, Gator Dave, to get the win. I'm going to take them the points for the show because we're down 3 games still to you. We gotta do a little something about that. But I like them. Hey, I like Army to win this game outright, get to 5-6, setting up that matchup with Navy in Foxborough to become bowl eligible in a couple weeks in December. So give me Army. Give me the Black Knights and the points here, Dave.
Even a chance, Mark. I knew you'd go Army, buddy. Hey, just a couple of call-outs here. We've got Public House. We've got Novoski. We've got Ian. We've got Scott Crawford. And we got Evelyn on the line, just out there mixing it up. And by the way, Novoski, he's from Miami, Mike. You know that guy from down there in Miami?
I do know him, dude. I do know him. We go way back.
All right. He a Miami fan like you, Miami Mike?
No, he's a dog fan, dude. He's a roo-roo.
Oh, don't like that. All right.
But he's not from Miami either, though. So, all right. So next game, we're going to stay in the Sun Belt here. We're going to talk about those Texas State Bobcats that we just mentioned a little bit. They are a -3.5 favorite at Arkansas State. Quarterback for Texas State, TJ Finley. We've talked about him a lot this year. He was benched at halftime last week versus Coastal Carolina. I thought that was kind of interesting, honestly, because Texas State was actually winning that game at the end of the first quarter. They were up 10-7. Going into the half, they were down 10-21. Definitely possible to come back from that. They almost did with their backup Malik Hornsby. And he's been the clear starter for them all year in TJ Finley. He's got over 2,500 yards, 18 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions. Malik Hornsby, who I just mentioned, he's only thrown 15 passes all year, and 8 of those came last week against Coastal. The coach has reiterated that TJ Finley is still the starter. He's still the guy. And it seemed to me like Texas State tried to switch game plans a little bit, tried to get the ground game going. Malik Hornsby had a little bit of success on the ground. He had 16 carries, 2 touchdowns in that one. Almost, like I said, almost brought him back against Coastal. The good news here for Texas State, regardless of who they're going against or who they start with quarterback, who they playing? Arkansas State. Arkansas State has one of the worst defenses in the nation. They're giving up over 250 through the air and over 175 on the ground. They're absolutely atrocious. Bad news for Texas State is they also have a pretty bad defense. They're giving up 250 through the air, 150 on the ground. This is senior day for Arkansas State, so it's their last home game of the year. They're still 1 win away from bowl eligibility and have an away game at Marshall next week. Marshall, by the way, is also 5-5. They play South Alabama this week, so that game next week, the reason I mentioned that, could be a win-or-go-home type of situation where both teams are sitting at 5-6. Winner is going to go to a bowl. Loser is going to be sitting on the couch the rest of the year. All that being said, Gator Dave, I like the over here. I think it has a really good shot, but I'm going to stick with Texas State -3.5 to get it right against this Butch Jones-led Arkansas State team. What say you, sir?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the ballpark there, Mike. The Bobcats, they have lost 3 of the last 5, but it was against Coastal, who I have a lot of confidence in. Troy, they did lose to Louisiana, but they did beat Georgia Southern, which was a nice win for them. Arkansas State, not so much, not any big wins at all. They're real wins in the last 5, Louisiana and ULM, so not a lot there. Texas State does come in much better offense, and hopefully our boy Finley got the picture from the coach and will get off his ass this week. This Malik Hornsby guy, I know that guy from somewhere, Mike, and I can't figure it out. I was trying to do some looking on the side. That name sounds familiar, but I don't know if you know any more about him or not. But he was a transfer. I want to say he was from Arkansas, wasn't he? Okay, maybe that's it. I know the name, but I just couldn't figure out what it was. Maybe that's what it is. All right, sorry to get off topic. All right.
Yeah. He went to Arkansas.
Okay. Arkansas State pretty much hot garbage. 92nd on offense, 104 on defense. Not to mention their 95th strength of schedule, so not good at all. Mike talked about how Finley had a crappy game against Coastal Carolina. Obviously, ASU's looking to try to get bowl eligible and get a win in there at home as best they can. Texas State has had a couple of rough games as of late, but I still say they remain the better team. And I say the Bobcats are going to take care of Arkansas State on both sides of the ball and easily cover those 3.5, 4 points. So give me Texas State as well, Mike.
All right on. So, again, based off last week, that means Arkansas State's going to get it done, people. So.
No. Well, that was 1 week, man. We're sure about this one.
All right. Take us here to the Big 12, Gator Dave.
Let's roll to one, if not the only Big 12 game we've got. So we got Cincinnati and West Virginia.
It's ugly.
Huh?
And it's ugly. It's an ugly game.
It is ugly, but
and again, I'd like to point out your doing here, sir. Your doing.
Yeah, trust me on this one. Out there, gang. And by the way, we just got Hindu join the chat. What up? All right. So Cincinnati at West Virginia. We all know West Virginia is not an easy place to play. I don't care who you are. And I don't care how bad you are, because last year they even won there. So Cincinnati comes in at 3-7, 4-6 against the spread. West Virginia 6-4, 6-4 against the spread. Bearcats have lost 4 of their last 5 games. Their only win against lowly Houston the cellar dweller of the new Big 12. Cincinnati's offense comes in at a stellar 79th, defense at 73, and a strength of schedule of 49. The Mountaineers, however, offense is 45th, defense not so hot at 79, but they got a strength of schedule of 14, Mike, which isn't too bad. All the money right now I looked at was on the Mountaineers. Bearcats just have not looked good this year. Emory Jones is not a Power 5 quarterback. Trust me. We got rid of him, and we brought Kyle Trask, and we know how that went. But Emory's he's not a Power 5 quarterback. They got some work to do rebuilding the team, obviously with the new coach. West Virginia's played much better this year, especially against those lower-end Big 12 teams, the ones that just came in. Because, when Mike and I were picking at the beginning of the year, we were thinking even West Virginia was going to have trouble with those teams. They've wore them out and even won a couple other games. This is a home game. It's going to allow them to notch another victory, and I'm going to say give me those Mountaineers to cover those 6.5 points, Mike. What say you?
I would say that's not a terrible pick, Gator Dave. Cincinnati, they got their season killer loss 2 weeks ago, put them at 7 losses on the season, so they are not going to be bowl eligible, not going to have a postseason. I was really surprised, honestly, last week how they responded with that, beating that Houston team, like you mentioned. I mean, Houston, don't get me wrong, is nothing special this year, but to still fight and to compete after knowing, your season's basically a wrap, gotta love to see that out of Cincinnati. For West Virginia, their offensive line has given up only 9 sacks all year long, so they're pretty stout up there up front. But their best offensive weapon, C.J. Donaldson, their running back, he is questionable with this one. He had a lower body injury last week in that blowout loss to Oklahoma, so might not go. He's supposed to go. They haven't really disclosed too much about it. They're kind of keeping it close to the chest, so that's something to watch for. It's really a shame, though, if he doesn't go, because these two teams are some of the best in the nation at running the ball. They both average over 200 yards a game. Don't sleep on the backup for West Virginia. His name is Jaheim White. Dude is a beast. He averages over 7 yards a carry on the year, and he has wheels. So if they don't have C.J. Donaldson, it's kind of similar to that situation we had earlier in the year with Clemson, where they lost Will Shipley. They had that backup come in, and dude just absolutely took care of business. Corey Kiner is the guy for running back for Cincy. He's got over 100 yards in 3 of his last 4 games. His best of the season. He didn't have a 100-yard game before these last 4 games all year. West Virginia and Cincinnati quarterbacks, their accuracy issues is what's going to stand out to me in this one, Dave, and is the problem. I think they're going to rely heavy on the run game on both sides here. Initially, I was with you on West Virginia. That's why I said that, I kind of like that pick. However, I think this is going to be more of a ground and pound type game where they try to lean away from both quarterbacks. So I'm going to go the under 54 here, Gator Dave.
Under 54. All right.
Under 54. And real quick, before we head out west, I just want to say...
Do we have a commercial announcement, Mike?
No, it's not a commercial, Dave. This is part of the show. You should know that by now. Shop CYA, everybody. If you're going to a concert, high school event, sporting event, you're always going to need these moving forward. Clear plastic bag. This cover, you can get them at shopcya.com. They have tons of designs, tons of styles for every occasion. You just snap it off when you're going through security, snap it back on when you actually get inside the stadium or venue. It keeps all of your stuff secure, keeps people from looking at what you got in your bag. Make sure to check it out, shopcya.com. See what they got. Woo! All right. So we're going to head now out to the west side of things. We got UNLV at Air Force, -3. Air Force is one of the best defenses in the country this year. They're ranking in the top 5. They have also one of the best running offenses, also ranking in the top 5. Air Force is a little one-dimensional, though, as most of those military academy teams are. They cannot throw the football, whereas on the flip side, you have a UNLV team averaging over 225 passing yards and also over 195 rushing yards on the ground. They have over 53% completion percentage on third downs, which means they convert on a 53% rate. Top 10 in the country. They're putting up over 36 points a game, this offense is. Easily going to be the best offense that this Air Force defense has faced all year long, and it's coming at an absolute terrible time for them. After starting the season 8-0, they've lost their last 2 games by a combined score of 50-16. Against Army 2 weeks ago, they had 6 turnovers, like you mentioned earlier in the show, to Army 0. Last week, they faced Hawaii. In that loss, they had 4 turnovers to Hawaii 0. Before the last 2 weeks, they had only 5 turnovers through their first 8 games. So it is kind of an avalanche right now for Air Force and the Falcons and these turnovers. On the flip side, UNLV has forced 13 interceptions and 7 fumbles on defense through their 10 games, so they're going to get a couple turnovers in here in this one. I think this one comes down to which defense can get their offense the better field position, which offense is able to limit their turnovers. No chance of bad weather as of now in Colorado Springs. It looks like it's going to be like a high of 65, low of 40, so it's going to be nice football weather. So the passing game for UNLV should be able to find some holes in that Air Force defense. Give me the Rebels to ruin Air Force's senior day with a cover. I think they win this one outright. And real quick, last year's game between these two, Air Force won 42-7. So you got to think that this is a big revenge game on the minds of UNLV. So give me the Rebels here, Gator Dave. Who you got?
Yeah, Air Force is not the same team that came in at the beginning of the year, and they've had a little trouble with their schedules as of late. UNLV, however, 8-2, 9-1 against the spread. I mean, God, we should have been betting on them all year long. The Air Force had that loss to Hawaii, 27-13. Hawaii. Their quarterback was 3 of 7 passing, 56 yards, not too good, not looking good at all. The Rebs beat a tough Wyoming team, 34-14. UNLV has a receiver, Mike. His name is Ricky White. He is a transfer from Michigan State. Michigan State transfer. And I think Mr. Gleason can talk about Mr. White's compadre that's playing for his Florida State Seminoles down there. But this kid's the bomb. He's averaging 12 yards
is what they are.
Catch. He is absolutely killing it at UNLV. I don't think Air Force has anybody who can stop this kid. It's going to be all day long. UNLV's playing with house money right now, playing with their hair on fire. Look for the Rebs to just take care of this one without a problem. I'll take 3 points here and UNLV win. They're definitely going to win this one outright without a doubt. So I'm taking the Rebs, sir.
I love it. All right, sir, take us to the terrible Big Ten.
Snoozer of the Big Ten. So, we talked about on the texting on Saturday, trying to watch that Michigan and Penn State game, and I don't know how they can watch that crap in the Big Ten. I mean, it was just like, oh my God! And those were the number
two of the top 3,
1 and 3 or whatever, 2 and 3, whatever you want to call it. I'm just like, oh my God! And Penn State's supposed to be all that, and this young Drew Aller guy. I mean, he sucks. He sucks. He's horrible. And that team sucks. And obviously they, turned around and fired their offensive coordinator after the game. But Big Ten right now is back where it used to be to me, with the exception of Ohio State. But let's move on to this game so that we can make sure we win some folks some money, because this one's Illinois coming in at 5-5, 2-8 against the spread. Iowa, however, is 8-2 and 5-3-1 against the spread. Illinois has won three of the 5 games against Indiana, Minnesota, Maryland. They lost to Wisconsin and Nebraska. Iowa's won their last 4 or 5. They're only lost to Minnesota. And you know, this one, when we look at Iowa's games, 8 of the 10 games have gone the under. Okay. So you kind of get where I'm going here. The quarterback, however, for Illinois, his name's John Paddock. He came in the last game against who did they play last week? He came in for Altmaier. This guy, this Paddock kid, is a 5th-year senior. He threw for 486 and 3 TDs last week. Worries me slightly. You know, but Bielema is going to have a decision whether he brings Altmaier back in or if he's cleared to play, or does he play this Paddock guy who had a hot hand? Don't really know. All I know is Iowa's got a great defense. They're playing at Iowa. Give me the under, Mike. Give me the under 31 points in this game. I'm going to make this hopefully 9-2 on the under for Iowa. What say you, sir?
Yeah, I'm with you. It's the under. That's it. That's the only play that you can make in this game. It's the under. I will continue to fade Iowa's offense for the rest of the year as long as Kirk Ferentz' son is still the OC. Last year's game, I mean, good gracious. Last year's game between these two was a 9-6 thriller for Illinois and a win for them. I think it's probably pretty similar in this one. But I have a little bit of history here for you, Gator Dave. I know you love your history here, sir. So in the last 10 matchups between these two teams, the game has gone over the total, the current total in this game of 31 7 times out of 10. 7-3.
Wow.
All right?
Wow.
In their last 30 matchups, okay?
30. Yes.
The game total.
I love this history, Mike.
The game total against these two teams has gone over 31 26 times. It's only gone under that number 4 times in their last 30
Mike,
games.
Are you saying you're going? You want to go? You want to go the over, buddy?
No, absolutely not. I just thought that was interesting. You know, I'm still going the under. Again, this was before Kirk Ferentz hired his son as the OC.
Garbage man.
Even before Kirk Ferentz got to Iowa. So no, absolutely not. I'm going on the under. But I did think that those numbers and that trend that was kind of interesting. That it's so far to the opposite side.
Interesting, Mike.
Yep. All right, so going a little further west here, that way. There you go. We got Colorado at Washington State minus, what is it now, 4, I think, for Washington State? It's a Friday night game also. Yeah. To those that y'all think that it's Saturday, it is Friday, this one. Both of these teams are sitting at 4-6. So they both need to win their last 2 games to get bowl eligible. The problem for these two teams, it's going to be pretty tough to do. Next week, Washington State plays Washington, and Colorado is going to have to play Utah. So 2 of the top 2 teams in the Pac-12, that's who they got to go through to get bowl eligible. Main thing, though, here is in this game, it's still possible for both of these teams. So they're going to compete. But, man, they've had a rough stretch lately. Both teams were off to fast starts this year. Colorado started 3-0. They were literally the talk of all of college football for those first 3 weeks. Couldn't get enough of them. Washington State started 4-0. 3 of those losses, though, for Washington State were one-possession games. Just like Colorado, same thing. 3 out of their 6 have been one-possession games. Quarterback play will be elite in this one. You got Cameron Ward for Washington State and Shedeur Sanders for Colorado. Rushing games struggle pretty heavily on both sides here. Actually, to be honest, there's a lot of similarities if you look at these two teams stat-wise and kind of personnel-wise. They have a lot in common. But to me, it's going to be Colorado in this one. They've done nothing but compete. More importantly, they've done nothing but cover as underdogs this season. Even down multiple scores late in the game, I mean, they find a way to fight back and make it look like it was close. So I think this one's probably going to be a shootout on Friday night. I think both offenses are going to find some success against those defenses. So I do lean to the over, but I'm going to stick to Colorado +4. Give me the Buffs and the Fighting Prime Times here in this one, Gator Dave. Who you got?
Yeah, yep. That's why I was leaning early too, Mike. But you kind of push things my way. But let's chat a little bit here. So obviously both teams, like you said, very similar. I mean, when you look at Sanders, he's at 69%. Cam Ward's at 67%. They're both throwing for 3,100 yards. Over 20 touchdowns, not a lot of interceptions. So very similar on the quarterback side of things. Colorado, one thing I looked at, Mike, Colorado's lost four of their last 5 games. Their last win was against lowly Arizona State. But in the 4 losses, Mike, the losses were by 3, 7, 12, and 3. So relatively damn close. So yep. I smell what you're stepping in when you think that Colorado can win this game. So Colorado's offense, 44th, Washington State's 45th. Again, more correlation and to the fact that these teams are pretty evenly matched. This one should be very long, drawn-out game because they're going to be throwing the ball a lot, right? Not a lot of run. Neither one of these teams are that great at running the ball, but they are good at passing the ball. So I think it's going to definitely be one of those that gets drawn out quite a bit. And neither team has a great defense either, right? Colorado's defense is ranked 117. Washington State is ranked 100. So, I was weighing the fact that I kind of like Colorado a little bit, but I think my sure bet is for this game to go over the 64 points, Mike. So I'm going to go that way in this particular situation just because, like you said, they're very evenly matched. But if I had to lean, I'd definitely lean to Colorado just because even in those losses, they've been close. So I'm going to go the over, Mike, 64.
All right, I like it. I like that one a lot. Yeah, again, I mean, I had a couple of games like that this week where I kind of just bounce from this side to the over so it's definitely, but as you get down here to these rivalry games, rivalry week, senior days, it can get a little spicy when a little more pride comes into play. So can't wait. It's going to be a good 2 weeks.
And I think the teams are more evenly matched. I mean, it's like our next game. We're going to the SEC now, and I threw this game out there originally. I probably should have picked another game, but, I wanted to put it out there as being an SEC game, and that's a Kentucky, South Carolina game, kind of a little below the Mendoza line.
Gross.
Teams.
It's gross.
Yeah. Kentucky favored by 1.5 in this game at South Carolina. So Kentucky comes in at 6-4, 5-5 against the spread. South Carolina 4-6, they're 5-5 against the spread as well. So the Wildcats have lost 4 of the last 5 games, but they've lost to Bama, they've lost to UGA, they've lost to Missouri, and they've lost to Tennessee. Now, 3 of those 4 teams, obviously, are the best in the SEC, right? Bama, UGA, and Missouri are the top 3 teams in the SEC right now. So The only win against Mississippi State. The Gamecocks, however, they have won 2 of their last 5 games, Mike. They have won their last 2 games against Vanderbilt and Jacksonville State. I think Mr. Brother Ian Gleason can remember that game, right? All right. Kentucky is 53rd on offense, 57 on defense. The Gamecocks 59 on offense, 89 on defense. Their defense is not that good. The Gamecocks, obviously, we were able to score a lot of points on them. Money on this game about even, so hard to say here. Devin Leary comes in 57%, 2,063 yards, 19-8. Davis, the running back, strong guy, 929, averaging 5.8 a carry. Rattler comes in at 28, 67, 71%. He's 17-7, and Anderson, the running back, 645, 5.5. The Gamecocks don't have much of a running game and don't have much of a defense. They're in desperate mode. With a 4-6 record and 2 games left, they've got to win these last 2 games. So they're desperate. They want that bowl game, and they're going to push hard. Their coach, he's going to push them as hard as they can to try to win this game, and they've got a decent chance, I believe, to win the game. Kentucky, they put up some offense against Alabama last week. I mean, it's one of the best defenses in the country. Did they not? Scored a few points, enough to beat South Carolina. And the Gamecocks are just horrible on defense. So that's the one thing to remember. But I'm going to say that this total is mighty low, and neither team is that great on defense. So I'm going to take the over 54 in this game, Mike, because I don't know whether Kentucky or South Carolina is going to win this game. So give me the over.
Yeah, I'm with you. Again, this was one of those that I bounced around a little bit, couldn't really decide which side to go. Kentucky's defense has registered. This is kind of where I'm at with it. Kentucky's defense, they've gotten 22 sacks over their 10 games. They've had some success getting to the quarterback, whereas South Carolina's offensive line has given up 37 sacks through 10 games. They are ranked 124th out of 130 teams in the FBS this year. South Carolina has a standout wide receiver, Xavier Leggett, like you mentioned. He's got over 1,000 yards receiving, less than 60 catches. Stupid. He'll make a lot of money on Sundays. Running back Mario Henderson, like you mentioned. South Carolina does struggle to run the ball. They only average about 91 yards a game. But this guy, Mario Henderson, averages over 5 yards a carry when he does get the rock. Kentucky lives and dies by their running game. On the opposite side, with Ray Davis, he's got 929 yards on the year, 16 total touchdowns. 11 of those are rushing. He averages 5.8 yards a carry. Both quarterbacks, Devin Leary and Spencer Rattler, they've had their issues turning the ball over at some pretty inopportune times this year. South Carolina's defense coming off a great game versus Vanderbilt, holding them to just 6 points. So they're feeling high. They're feeling mighty. Kentucky's defense coming off an absolute abysmal game against Alabama, giving up 59 at home in that one. However, Gator Dave, I think
49,
Kentucky's okay, it might as well have been 59, sir.
49, 59.
You know what I'm mixing it up with? I'm mixing up the Oklahoma game. However, I think Kentucky's defense bounces back in this one. I was going to go Kentucky here, money line originally, but I'm with you. This game could go either way. It's going to be stupid, ugly to watch, a shit show, whatever you want to call it. But I'm on the under, Gator Dave. Give me the under 54. I think it's going to be a lot of running the ball, keeping possession, running that clock, scoring when you can. So give me the under here, sir. In a head-to-head.
Interesting, Mike. Very interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, we
Yes.
both kind of gave up on this one. This is one of those we never should have thrown out there. I do apologize. So
Yeah,
let's go
that's
west again
atrocious,
there,
dude. It's
Mike. Let's
atrocious.
go west to another good game.
All right, so we got Pac-12 football here again. We got Utah at Arizona -1. Utah has banked heavily. Is another team that's banked heavily on the run game this year, averaging over 180 yards a game. But they're going to be facing an Arizona defense, which is a top 25 rushing defense. They're giving up under 100 yards a game. I think this one's going to have to be won through the air on both sides. I don't think they're going to find a lot of success on the ground. But I just do not have total faith in either one of these quarterbacks for Utah. Since Cam Rising went down, they've done their best. They've honestly done way better than I think a lot of people would have thought they would. But Arizona, I think, is going to find just enough success here against this Utah defense to separate, to get a little separation and to hold it. Because Utah's defense, as good as it's been this year, their weakness has been through the passing game. They've been exposed a little bit. Michael Penix had some dimes last week against them. Oregon took them to the woodshed. USC was still able to put up some points on them, even though Utah won that game. So I leaned heavy on the under here. But I'm going to stick with my original pick. And I'm going to go Jed Fish at home leading the Wildcats in Tucson to get it done here. Who do you like, Dave?
Jed Fish could be the next Florida Gator coach.
Oh,
Never know.
God, I would
All right.
fucking throw up.
All right. Why, you don't like that?
No, dude, I like Jed Fish. He was Al Golden's OC when he first got there, and we were actually like clicking.
So he's
dude.
He's a Miami guy.
Jed
we
Fish
don't want
can.
him then. Never mind.
Jed Fish can
right.
scheme a game plan.
All right. So here we go. So Utah 7-3, Wildcats 7-3. Really tight game coming to this one. So Utah's won 3 of 5. Lost to Washington, Oregon, the two best teams in the Pac-12. Arizona's hot 4 of their last 5. They have won. Colorado, UCLA, Oregon State, Washington State. One of those teams is decent. So Utah comes in with a 78 best offense in the nation. Not too good. Obviously, Cam Rising being out's hurt them bad. Arizona has the 40th ranked offense, so looking a little better. They got a better quarterback. However, Utah's defense 16th in the nation, and they do have the 8th best schedule. Strength of schedule, they're number 8, and Arizona's strength of schedule 53. I'm going to come up with a formula next year, Mike, that is going to astound you, that's going to take these numbers of where they stand in strength of schedule. I hadn't figured it out yet, but we'll work on it next year.
Come up with the algorithm, huh?
I am going to come up with it, baby. So on paper, we know Arizona has an advantage at QB and some of the skill positions. However, Utah has a supreme advantage on the defensive side of the ball. The Utes can stop the run, and they don't give up many points, 17.8 points allowed a game. Additionally, the Utes are ranked 3rd in sacks. They've had 30. They only allow the opposing quarterbacks to complete 55% of their passes this season. So the game could go either way, and obviously with that 1.5 points, it's, that's what everybody thinks. But I'm going to take the Utes and that defense to be dominant, and give me 1 point there, Mike. Give me +1 in the Utes.
You can have it. You can have that one. Because I think you're sleeping on this Wildcat defense, brother. It's only given up 20.9 a game this season, so not too far off that massive Utah mighty defense. Just saying.
We'll see, Mike. We'll see, buddy.
All right, sir. Take us back to the East.
All right, we're going to my game. So, last weekend, 3rd quarter day. Gator Dave was feeling pretty decent. His team was
Third person.
hanging with LSU in the third quarter, but then we came to the fourth quarter and things got ugly. So Gator Dave wants to make sure he gives everyone a good pick, and we're doing Florida at Missouri here, Mike. Gators are 5-5, 3-6 against the spread. Missouri 8-2, 5-4 against the spread. Gators have lost their last 3 games to LSU, Arkansas, and UGA. Missouri's won 3 of their last 5. Their 2 losses were to LSU and to UGA. They spanked the Vols last Saturday. Okay, kept it close with the Dogs. Florida's 51st on offense, 75 on defense, 4th best schedule. Mizzou 30th on offense, 42nd on defense, 5th toughest schedule. Not a lot of good stuff to really talk about my team, Mike. I mean, we got a respectable quarterback in Mertz throwing at 73%, 27-20, 18-2. Not too bad if he was playing on a good team. 2 good running backs, in Etienne and Johnson, each running around 600 yards each, 6 and 5 on yards per carry, pretty good. But we look on the other side of the ball, Mike, and we've got Brady Cook at 68%, which is close to Mertz, 27-46, 17-6. A few more interceptions. Schrader, their running back, the best in the SEC, 11-24, 5.7 yards per carry. We're going to have a major problem with him, Mike. He's going to run up the gut. He's going to run right at our linebackers who suck and do that all day long. So I'm a bit concerned. Our defense just ain't got it right now. 40% of the folks playing on defense are freshmen, unfortunately, but it is what it is. We're having trouble tackling. I think this one's going to be very similar to that Tennessee game against Missouri last week. With the exception, I think we can score a little bit more than Tennessee did. I think we can get maybe 21. So I'm thinking this one's around 42-21, something like that. Hate to say it, but, I'm going to go with the Tigers in 11.5 here, Mike. No confidence, a little embarrassing. I have to call out my team, but I owe it to the folks out here to make them a couple of bucks. So bet against my Gators. Mike, what do you think?
I think I don't know. Usually when you go against the Gators, that's when the Gators actually usually show up. So that gives me a little pause there, Gator Dave. But Florida needs this one in a bad way if they want to be bowl eligible this year. Sitting at 5-5, they got Florida State next week at home. While it would be a Cinderella-esque ending for the Gators season, I think unfortunately that ain't going to happen next week against the Seminoles, so this one is going to be a must-win for them. Missouri on the opposite side looks great. They're sitting in the top 10 currently with, albeit an outside shot, but it's still a shot to the college football playoff. Initially, I was on Missouri in this one with you. I did like a minus 11.5, but I honestly, after breaking it down a little more, that might be a little too many points in this one. In a game that the Gators are going to be a little desperate, specifically Billy Napier losing some recruits like a fire sale after that loss against LSU. So I'm going to go the over here, Gator Dave. I'm going the over 58. I think Missouri is going to be able to put up at least 30 on that Florida defense, but I think Florida, one thing about them, if you watch their games earlier this year, in the games that they've kind of lost or been blown out in, they still score. They play to the final whistle. You can look at the Georgia game for an example of that. They were getting absolutely killed. Ended up scoring a couple touchdowns in that fourth quarter, pushed that game over. I think this one's going to be kind of similar to that. They're going to get close. They're just not going to get close enough. So give me the over 58 in this one.
Mike, I believe I gave you the score there, didn't I? I gave you 42-21, Mike. So that would be 63 points, which would get you right there where you need to be there, partner. So
You might
I
be
think
onto
that's a good
something there.
call, Mike. Good call. Good call.
All right.
I think both of us are going to win that game. So let's head back out to those games on the left coast there, Miguel.
Yes, heading back west. But before we do, Gator Dave, we're going to shop CYA.com. It's up there. I'm going to get it eventually. It's up there. ShopCYA.com. You need clear this is clear. It's a clear plastic bag. There's white paper in there to show you that stuff's in there and it hides it well. All right. Clear plastic bag. You need it for when you go into stadiums, when you go into concerts, when you go into high school games. When you're going through security at the airport, you got to put your stuff in a clear plastic bag. You could do that with this. When you're going through security, you snap off the cover. When you get through security, you snap it back on. Covers all your assets, everything. So nobody's looking at it as you're walking by or standing in line for a beverage. Shop CYA. Damn it. ShopCYA.com. It's up here. Check it out. They got tons of designs for different occasions. ShopCYA.com. All right.
Hey, and remind everyone, please subscribe, please like, and hammer down in the chat. We're a little quiet tonight, man. A little quiet here pre Thanksgiving. So, rack it up, guys. Rack it up. So. All right, let's go west, Mike. Your favorite spot. You've killed this Pac-12 this week, man. Let's do it.
Yep. So we're going to UCLA at USC -6.5. Battle for Los Angeles here. Classic rivalry game. And one thing about rivalry games, they're always tough. You can usually throw out the records when it comes to them. Anything can happen. But this year at these matchup, this is another one of those matchups where both of these teams, like the Colorado-Washington State game, very, very, very similar. They both have 4 losses on the season. Both teams off back-to-back losses. Both are unranked. Both are already bowl eligible. So a lot of similarities. Major difference is going to be the defenses. UCLA's defense is much, much better than USC's. UCLA is top 40 in the nation overall on defense. They play the ground game exceptionally well. They allow only 70 yards a game on that front. UCLA also has had a ton of injuries at the quarterback position all year long. It's really stifled this Chip Kelly offense, which frankly has him on the hot seat. So he really needs to win this one to kind of get him back next year, in my opinion, even though they are bowl eligible. USC is not going to lie down, though, on that opposite side. Caleb Williams is still Caleb Williams. He's still a Heisman winner. He's still going to make his money on Sunday next year and make insane plays. He's still going to get his regardless of that good defense for UCLA. But it's going to be a lot harder for him to find success against that defense when UCLA takes away that run game and makes them one-dimensional. Give me the Bruins here, Gator Dave, plus 6.5 in this rivalry game. I think they get it done. I think they actually have a chance to win this one outright in USC's senior day and really just absolutely put a foot to Lincoln Riley's face in this season and really make some USC boosters question who they paid when they hired him. So give me the Bruins plus 6.5 and for Chip Kelly to live at least another week as the Bruins head coach. Who you got here, Dave?
Mike, I am in total. I'm going the opposite way here, Mike. So let's see. So UCLA 6-4, USC 7-4. UCLA's lost their last 3 of 5 games. They've lost against Arizona. They've lost against a 3-7 Arizona State team. And it's just not looking good as of late. USC's only won 1 of the last 5 games. Okay. But all those games against top 20 teams. UCLA is 70th on offense, 9th on defense, 65th strength of schedule. USC third on offense, 120 on defense. So they're like polar opposites, 48th strength of schedule. So I read a lot of articles, and a lot of it was coming out of a 24/7 article that came out that basically is saying Chip's going to be done after the USC game. Bad losses. They say he's lost the confidence of the players and the support of the donors.
Yeah, that's usually the writing on the wall right there.
Yeah, and if the players aren't supporting the coach, which if you've seen the drop off the last couple of weeks, I think these rumors could very well be true.
That's valid.
You know, and we know how well Caleb's going to play. We know he's going to throw the ball. We know Marshawn Lloyd's going to run the ball. You know, their defense sucks. They've gotten rid of their defensive coordinator, so you'll probably get a little boost maybe from that defense this week.
Right.
But the quarterbacks from UCLA, it's like, what the hell? I mean, I've got a paragraph on the quarterbacks for UCLA. You know, they're down to number 4, Mike. Their top 3.
Hey, the good news is Dante Moore is available though for them this week, so
Really?
he may get some play.
I heard what I saw is they're down to this Chase Griffin dude who's, you know, their 4th guy.
Yeah.
And you know, the defense, I think we're coming down to the fact that if there are issues internally, it's going to come out this week. You've got a rivalry game, and USC has, if you look at the games they played, it's kind of like going back to Colorado. They haven't just gotten their ass torn up, except for, I think it was, and I thought I had the data here. I think I pulled it out, but, you know, they've had 2 games that they've lost where they got whooped pretty bad. One, Notre Dame was one. I can't remember the other one, but the games have been close. So I'm thinking this USC is going to cover the 6.5 points. I feel really pretty damn good about them covering the points in this game, and I think Chip Kelly's done after this game. When this happens, it's over at this point.
Yeah.
So that's where I am.
All right. I mean, I could definitely see it. It's one of those things. I mean, like you mentioned, USC's offense. I mean, they can keep them in any game. So
yeah,
it's very similar to Colorado. You know, where it's just a matter of if they're going to play. If that game starts slow for either side, UCLA or USC, I mean, it could be ugly on either side. So yeah.
But I think USC has a much more firepower to come back and than that UCLA team.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, if USC gets out early, you can call it right there. So, yeah, UCLA is going to have to establish, you know, what they want to do, and if they can't do that, yeah, it's going to be Trojans for sure. So I hear you.
And Skip ought to just not even come out of there. Chip ought to just not even come out of the damn locker room. So Chip, Skip, whatever his fucking name is. So let's come back home and go.
2 games left. 2 games left.
We're gonna go back to the SEC on the home front. I see Nirvana did not make the call, so I was hoping she'd get on today. So we got Georgia -10 at Tennessee. So tough to play at Tennessee, Mike. Tough to play. So the Dogs are 10-2. They're only 3-7 against the spread. The Vols are 7-3, 5-4 against the spread. Vols have lost to the Gators, the Tide, and got spanked by Mizzou this past weekend. The Dogs are undefeated. Big wins over Mizzou and Ole Miss. Georgia's 6th best offense in the land, 6th best defense. The Vols come in at 35th on offense, 30th on defense. All the money right now that I saw was on the Dogs. Beck's at 72%, 3,000 yards, 18-5. Edwards running at 691 and 5.6. Milton at 422, 6.3. There he is. There's Novoski. He's coming in there. You're right. He's that dog fan. Wake up, baby. Wake up. All right. So Joe Milton, however, 65%, 2283, 16 and 5. The running backs right at 848, 7.2 yards. The carry, Sampson 425, 5.7. Small at 420, 4.9. What's ironic is that the Vols have turned into a running team because Joe Milton is not that good a quarterback. So they've kind of turned into that running team. So changed it up a bit. Georgia's one of the best against the run. I say they're looking at numbers like last week. Once the crowd gets taken out of the game and they stop playing that freaking nightmare Rocky Top. Yeah, you'll always be a nightmare. Drives me nuts. I think things will change. Bulldogs are hitting on all cylinders, Mike. Defense is strong. Offense is humming. You know, they got the ground attack going. Beck's airing it out. Give me the Dogs to cover the 10 points. Let's say, Mike.
Oh, Gator Dave. So, all right, this one is going to be rowdy, okay, in Knoxville.
No way.
Hey. It's going to be rowdy, all right, in Knoxville. They're going to be singing their asses off and color coordinating, and I'm telling you right now, they've looked forward to this game all year long. Fans, players, they thought that this game, circle it on the schedule, this is going to be the one for the SEC East to win the SEC championship. This was that one, right? But like you mentioned, Tennessee has struggled, so they are not in a position, obviously, to play in that game. But they can still play spoiler, Gator Dave. I think they come out juiced up to the roar of that Tennessee crowd. 100,000 plus, Gator Dave. 100,000 plus. That's an army, all right, man?
Dude, that'll last 10 minutes.
Having said that, Georgia will win this game, and they're probably going to cover this game. But in the first half...
Oh, no. Here we go again.
Give me the Tennessee Vols plus 6.5 in the first half to keep it competitive. Until Kirby Smart gets their asses in the locker room and gets them back on point.
6.5, really? Because it's 10 points.
Look it up.
It's 10 points for the game.
Look it up.
All right. So let me mark that down. We got 6.5 for the Vols. How'd that work for you last week there, Mikey?
We don't need to talk about last week, Gator Dave. This is a new week. We don't. I thought you don't like history. All right. Let's move forward. Let's move forward now.
Listen,
so we're going back out west.
You can't let emotions control your pick.
Back out west. Back out west we go. Final game. We got Washington.
Man, you started off. I'll be looking up this freaking crazy ass 6.5, man.
Look it up. Washington at Oregon State -1. Game of the week. You got Oregon State. That's 2 one-possession losses. Only 2 losses on the year. Both of them one possession to Washington State and Arizona. Otherwise, they are right where Washington is. Undefeated. Playoff spot potential. But they're not. So now they get to play spoiler in Washington's season. I was initially on Washington in this game, but I just think Oregon State's defense really is going to be the difference in this one. I think they're going to be able to slow down Michael Penix just enough to allow their offense to compete in this one. And ultimately, you've given me the better defense at home, at night, senior day, and the other team they're going against, they have a chance to basically ruin their season. Yeah, I'm all about that. Give me Oregon State on senior day. I think they can get it done. Also, we talked about earlier in this season, when the lesser-ranked team is the favorite, take note of that. Vegas knows something that we don't. Oregon State, that game has shifted. It started at Washington -1.5. It is now Oregon State, I believe, -2.5. That's a lot of movement in just a couple of days. So give me the Beavers here at home to basically end Washington's season and their playoff hopes. What say you here, Gator Dave?
Well, let me start and tell you, all I'm seeing is 5.5 there, my friend, on DraftKings. Look
Who
it
the fuck
up.
uses DraftKings?
DraftKings 5.5.
You don't use DraftKings. Stop it. Let me look up something right now. You go ahead with your dialect.
Let me
all right?
talk about Washington
And
and
your
Oregon
dialogue.
State. You look up your deal. So
I'm looking,
here's
dude.
what I
Don't
have.
call me a liar.
Washington coming in at 10-0, 4-5-1 against spread. Oregon State is 8-2 and 6-4 against the spread. Washington lost. Their wins have all been rather close as of late. Last 5 wins, they won by 7, they won by 10, won by 9, won by 8, won by 3. No real blowouts. Arkansas State. Oregon State, however, won 4 or 5 games. They're only lost to Arizona 27-24. Washington comes in with the 5th best offense in the country, 48 on defense. Oregon State is 14 on offense, 32 on defense. So you got it almost comparable. The money is about even when I looked at that. Of course, we know the leading candidate for the Heisman, Michael Penix, quarterback for Washington, 68%, 35-33, 28-7. Running back Dylan Johnson running at 790, 5.8 yards per carry. On the other side, we got DJ Uunglele, 58%, 22-54, 20-4. Running back Martinez, 10-24, 6.6, pretty damn awesome. Fenwick, 497, 5.8. These guys can run the ball and control the game. Remember, control the game, Oregon State. Beavers favored in this one. No one really has confidence in the Huskies' defense, and not sure I do either. And this one being played in Corvallis, Oregon, at Oregon State. The Beavs just scored 62 on Stanford. The Beavers love to run the ball. The Huskies have issues stopping the run.
Everything.
And, 85% chance of rain in this game helps the run game. Oregon State would love to slap Washington's ass in this game as they
Gator
roll
Dave.
out to the Big Ten, right? They're saying sayonara to the last 2 teams left in the Pac-12. Washington's had way too many close calls for Gator Dave in the last 5 weeks. Give me the Beavers and the money line. Boom.
I like it.
Right there with you, Mike.
I like it a
Right
lot. Now, real quick, Gator Dave, I want you to check Caesars Sportsbook there, brother, for that old game, and tell me what you're looking at there.
I'll trust you with it, Mike.
Oh, now you want to trust me.
I do. I trust
Interesting.
you because
Muy interesante for our viewers of the South.
I'm green on this betting thing, Mike. I don't know how this works. I mean, when I assume that it's 10 points for a game, you would think it would be 5 points for a half. But that's not how it works in the betting field, is it, Miguel?
I don't make the lines. I just bet them. You know what I'm saying? So that is where we're at.
Yep.
So we got our recap up. I'm on Army. You like Coastal this week. We're both on Texas State in a bounce back roll here. You're on the Mountaineers. I am on the under in that game against Cincy. We're both on UNLV. We're both on the under in Illinois, Iowa. I'm on Colorado. You are on the over in that one. We are in opposites in the Kentucky-South Carolina game. I'm on the under. You're on the over there. I'm on Arizona money line. You got Utah plus the 1 point. I'm on the over in the Florida-Missouri game. You like Mizzou minus 11.5 against your Gators. The hell does that say? Oh, UCLA. I got UCLA plus 6.5. I thought it said UGA for a minute. I was like, whoa, no. USC minus 6.5 is your play. You got Georgia full game minus 10 against the Vols. I got the Vols plus 6.5 in the first half, and we're both on the Beavs to get it done at home and to shock Husky Nation.
And I really, as I listen to some of these other guys, I think it's about that time for them to get shocked. They've just been way too close in their games. So.
Yep, I agree. They've definitely had some nail biters that they probably shouldn't have won. I think that defense is catching up to them a little bit.
Well, and thus the point spread leaning over to the Oregon State side, right?
Yep, so. A lot of money over there. So, all right, Thanks for everybody that watched. Public House, Navoski, Ian, Scott, Hindu, Evelyn. We really appreciate all y'all that jumped in the chat. Devontae, I see you, brother. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, please make sure to like, subscribe to the video, drop a comment after the video's over, during the video's over. Really helps us out with the algorithm and all the backdoor fancy stuff. Gator Dave, you still got a 3-game lead on me, so we're running out of time here. Hopefully something can make it happen.
This week, I think this week's going to make or break, Mike. I mean, there's a lot of games that we're not agreeing on. So, but what usually happens is you win half, I win half, and it ends up a wash.
There's no movement. So yeah, we need some movement in this one. The good news is, like you said, we got 8 that were head-to-head on some and some kind of just on different sides. So hopefully we'll see some movement here.
Yeah, well, we appreciate everybody listening in. Hopefully we get another good week. We had almost 90 folks watch the video last week. So
but who's counting?
We definitely we are. So I am. I'm one of those guys that like the numbers. So remember how it is, Mike. So love the numbers.
You just pick and choose that situation then, huh?
Keep it coming. Keep it coming. We appreciate everybody that was in the chat tonight. We appreciate all the folks that subscribe and like what we got going on. Come back and see us next week. And, all I can say is go Gators.
Hey, top 10 matchup. Top 10 matchup for Miami, 12 o'clock. We were underdogs against Louisville when the line opened. We're favorites now. Tyler Van Dyke is starting. I think if you bet on Miami this week, you probably shouldn't be betting in the future. But I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But
I'm with Mike. I hope we're wrong too. But we know where that money needs to go. So have a good one, Mike.